Greetings, YouTube. Danny Staton here on the Daily Damn Blog, and I'm back with another comic book review. I'm back with the Go Home Edition. The Go Home Edition of my comic book reviews. That's right. It's the Halloween edition. I'm going to take on something special. I'm going to take on something scary. I'm going to take on something that don't wind up like you expect it to. Today, I'm taking a look at House of Mystery, number 222, from 1974. Wow, I wonder if my friend Dave Sunstorm would ever call this crap the good stuff. I would actually call this the pretty good stuff. It's got a twist. It's a little different. It wasn't what I was expecting as I checked out the cover and thought this little kid collecting butterflies was gonna get payback from the butterfly god. That's right, Mothra was coming for him. I was sadly mistaken. So let's go ahead and get this comic book open, get this stuff started, and try to get through it before my appendix completely explodes and I have to call 911. Oh God. Yes, a sad sign. When your bicycle no longer thrills you, it's time for a gun. That's right, you could have had your first Daisy BB gun back in 1974 because nothing's better than teaching little young kids how to shoot. What? So from the files of the young Dr. Wu comes a story called Vengeance is Mine, and in true Halloween spirit, it wouldn't be the Daily Dan Blog unless we featured a bloodsucker. That's right, this story's about Dracula, or Oswald Cobblepot vampire. What? So info panels brought to you by the Daily Dan Blog. Let me point out something real quick from my friend the Caucasian Sasquatch. Yes, I know the vampire in this book is not called Dracula. I know the guy who kills him is not called Van Helsing. I'm very much aware of the facts, but I'm not going to do it by the book. I'm going to call people what I want to call them. Like these two grave robbers I will refer to as Young Abbott and Costello here. Dr. Wu tells a story of Young Abbott and Costello, the grave robbers. That's right, they're digging up graves. They're trying to find a fortune when they discover a coffin with a stake through the heart. That's right. They have discovered Dracula! That's right, we're in the tomb where Dracula was staked out by Van Helsing all those years ago. Abbott and Costello are tripping. They say, wow, it's a vampire's grave. Let's get out of here. As they run in fear, they topple over. They topple over the casket and it falls to the floor. They run in fear and abandon. Dr. Wu stands and laughs. But Dr. Wu says, you know what happens? When the ghoul's stake is removed, well, slowly, bit by bit. Just like in a horror movie, just like in Dracula, 1970-something AD, that horrible piece of crap, we see Dracula reform. The vampire has returned. It's Return of the Vampire, which would probably be a better story than this. And for those keeping up with it, the vampire in this epic was called Lord Sandor, not Dracula. Just saying that for Caucasian Sasquatch, who probably owns this comic book and can't wait to put that out in the comments below. That's right. He was tracked down by Van Helsing. He was staked out all those years ago, and now he has returned. I'm coming for my revenge, says Count Dracula. I will eat you for what you have done to me, not realizing that he had been down. But 30 years. 30 years since the young man had staked that ass out. Back at Carfix Abbey, back in the day. And then we get a commercial for some really cool daredevil stunts. That's right. You could have been Evel Knievel of your time back in 1974 if you owned these really cool cars that did all these really cool stunts. And oh my God, I had these. And now we get an incredible ad for some really cool comic books that come out the same month, including the one we're looking at now, and a bunch of books that were probably much better than the one I'm looking at now. Way up here in the future, Van Helsing's giving his little boy a kiss on the head goodnight as he retires down to the study. And then he gets a rude awakening that Dracula has returned. I am back. I have returned for you. No, I have killed you long ago. You died many years ago, vampire. But I have returned. Quickly taking 2 pencils, he makes the sign of the cross and ushers Dracula from his humble abode. But this is tragic. I will return, and I will claim your child, Van Helsing. I will have your child. So in full panels, brought to you by the Daddy Damn Blog pedophile Dracula here, plans on taking Van Helsing's son for a lifetime of fun. Oh my God, it's a sick vampire. Did he really say that? Well, either way, Van Helsing, making the sign of the cross with the 2 pencils, ejects Dracula from his humble abode, and then he goes about hanging crosses all around the house covered in garlic, and hires a private detective to track down the grave so he can stake him out once more. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. He should have hired a better detective than that guy. So, Van Helsing and his detective talk over how to track down where the vampire's new nest must be, where the coffin would be. He must find it to stake him out. But the vampire's right outside his house. That's right. Dracula's lurking in the darkness, watching through the windows, waiting, stalking. He wants the boy. That's right. He wants Van Helsing's young child. He wants the young blood. He wants to taste his sweet essence. What the freak did that say, sweet essence? Oh my God, I'm not liking this book too much. Dracula decides to turn into a cute puppy. Hey, look, I'm a cute puppy. Let me in. Well, that don't work out because the kid says, ooh, ugly dog. He don't like dogs. That's a bummer for Dracula. You're not getting in tonight. The next night, Dracula comes back, looking through the window. The kid turns away. It bothers Dracula, so he turns into a cute little kitty cat right there, buddy. But no, little boy has no love of cats. That's right. The boy only has one love. He is a butterfly collector. He is the collector of butterflies. Dracula notices that he is the collector of butterflies, and Dracula summons up all his might, all his power, and changes into the biggest, beautiful butterfly that ever existed, the one way to lure little Kenny out of the house. That's right. Little Kenny's going down. Holy crap! Then we get a commercial for the greatest comic book of our times. That's right, Superman Action Comics #1, $1 million comic book. Right. #1 sold for $1,800 back in 1974, and I should have bought it because this comic book right now sells for $1 million. Swear to God, it's true. Look it up. Remember back in 1974 when they were giving it away for free? What am I talking about? Free iron-on transfers, that's right. You could have wrote this company, included a little bit of postage, and they would have sent you all these crappy iron-ons for your clothes. Most of them kind of sucked. Or you could have ordered the Liberty headset. Boy, I wished I'd ordered that. I think these might be worth a good chunk now. Young Kenny leaps from his bedroom window, chasing down the rarest, coolest butterfly he ever seen. He goes after it. He finds it. He finds the butterfly, which is really Dracula, perched on a flower, sucking the nectar from it because Dracula sucks. He grabs the butterfly in excitement. We switch back to a scene where the detective and Dr. Van Helsing are discussing Dracula. As they hear a loud, squilly scream, they assume the vampire has entered the house. Oh my God! They rush in, guns and stakes and crosses drawn, see? Guns, stakes, crosses. The fine young Kenny sitting at the desk working on his butterfly collection. Van Helsing runs over and hugs him and says, I thought it got you. Kenny says, no, I'm good. Well, what was the scream? Kenny says, that wasn't me. It's the damnedest thing I ever saw, Dad. I caught the most beautiful butterfly. But when I mounted it, wonk, 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 it let out a horrible scream. That's right, it let out a horrible scream. What? The butterfly let out a scream. And we realize that the Dracula chose the wrong form when he turned into a butterfly and little Kenny staked him. What a great story. You know, out of all the comic book stories I went through, Dr. Wu, you told a good one that time. Young Dr. Wu's House of Horror. And then we could have learned karate, jujitsu, the art of self-defense. I recommend Michael Harper orders this now. And then you could have got your hillbilly broke-back mountain country and western roundup classics, where you could have ordered all the really cool country music of the time, because I'm sure everybody wanted to order all their music from a comic book. What? Well, after one of the few comic book stories I really found enjoyable, I guess it's time to do a couple of shout-outs real quick. Let me give a shout-out to Dave Sunstorm and his incredible brother, Steven Sunstorm. You know, the good stuff guys, as well as my friend E. Miguel, the unapologetic geek, the guy who wrote that cool book called Paradox. Everybody should pick up a copy of Paradox. A special shout-out to my partner in crime, Thresh Pondo Pines. You can see us every other Sunday on our show here on YouTube. The Golden Rage of TV, Pat McCormick. Be sure to check him out, as well as our girl, BBB, Brainbenders Banners. And thank you, BBB, for that really cool cup, which will be appearing in my comic book videos for the foreseeable time. A special shout out to Bigfoot Michigan Rob, who had that really cool set of books called True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 and Book 2. A perfect Christmas gift, a good read for Halloween. And now, a few shout-outs to special friends like BK on the Air, Big Guys 45s. My flock is everywhere, Sarah. We love you, the nostalgic pod blast, retro nerd girl. AAP for life, AAP Homestead. We miss you guys, and Gypsy Road Eric, Paranormal Highway Eric, Hair Metal Revolution Eric in general. So Info Panels, brought to you by the Daddy Dan blog. We go on with another sad, dismal, disturbing story. As young Cratchit works hard for his boss, Scrooge. Scrooge is a mean man who makes Cratchit work really hard. Late into the night, Cratchit slaves and labors for his boss. At 9 o'clock at night, after 12-hour days, poor Cratchit walks home in the dark. In a disturbing tale of furries called Night of the Teddy Bear. Cratchit is startled as something jumps from the bushes, but it turns out to be his friend Bob. That's right, young Bob has scared Cratchit, had made Cratchit poop his pants. Poor Cratchit. Poor Cratchit. Even the police laugh at Cratchit. And if you never finished high school, this is your chance. You could have ordered this and graduated from Wayne School. You got a feeling Wayne had his school in his basement. Well, anyway, the police come up to young Cratchit and Bob and warn them that, yeah, that's right, there's a mysterious killer on the loose, Jack the Jerker. Jack the Jerker is jerking people's heads off, and they're going to have to watch out for Jack the Jerker. I think Bob may be a suspect here. As Bob tells Cratchit, we better walk you on to the house by. Anyway, the police walk old Cratchit home and tell his wife about the mysterious killer on the loose and how they had to walk old Cratchit home to make sure he didn't get ate. And by the way, let me point out, old Cratchit's wife looks like she crawled from the bowels of hell. Info Panels, brought to you by the Daddy Dan blog. I'll bring you the story of Cratchit. That's right, Cratchit and his wife arguing. Cratchit and his wife unhappy. Cratchit's wife's sending him on horrible errands in the middle of the night, sending him out to check on weird noises in the yard. As Cratchit sees what's going on and weird noises in the yard, oh my God, Cratchit is attacked. He is attacked by the bear killer. That's right. It's going to jerk his head right off, but Cratchit fights back. Cratchit knocks it to the ground. Cratchit lays him out. And just as he does, a loud scream erupts as a lady sees him standing there, blood-dripping club, mask in hand. Cratchit, you're the killer. Ah! So as the goofy woman screams and identifies Bob Cratchit. Bob Cratchit. Poor Bob as the killer. Police rush to arrest him. They take the witness's statement. But it was Bob. I swear it was Bob Cratchit. It was Mr. Cratchit. He's the killer. He's the bear killer. He's the bear killer. That's right. It's Cratchit. So they begin a search for Cratchit. He runs and hides in the swamp. I said he runs and hides in the swamp. He's the teddy bear killer. And apparently it was right around Christmas time when all these cool stores had all these cool things you could have had, like this little pool table. My neighbor Floyd had one of these little pool tables, one of these little miniature pool tables, which give us hours and hours of fun in my childhood. I actually had this racetrack you see right here. And I'll probably have one or two of these other crappy stuffies and little plastic animals. You could have had your own little Wonder Zoo. And then we get ads. Once again, ads for comic books, I swear, are probably much better, except for maybe this one, than what we're seeing here today. But you could have had hundreds and hundreds of pages of special features if you bought these comic books back in 1974. Right there, buddy. Cratchit's in fear as another furry shows up and bashes in his skull. Yeah, there were more than one furry killer. There was many. Wow, that's messed up that he got killed by another furry. And the search goes on, and the search goes on. As they search for the bear killer, they do not know that the man they search for, Cratchit, is already dead in the swamp. The end. What? What up? Now, that story wasn't as good as the first one, but I guess it'll do, right? So the bear killer goes on. Another bear killer takes his place. And Cratchit catches the blame, and they search for Cratchit for years and years, but never find his body laying in the swamp as it turns to skeleton. You could have read this Kane's mail call room thing. Oh, man, this is as bad as one of Connie Mueller's shows, I swear. You want to read that? Take a chance and read it. I don't care. And at the end of the comic book, you get this crap where you go to order all this really cool stuff. I still say this is my favorite comic book ad of the 70s, where you could order all the really cool stuff. I think I actually had the Evel Knievel stuff, you know, the little motorcycle that you wind up and it jumps everything. I remember it well. Boy, I wished I had some business cards to tear up. I should have got a couple out to rip up on camera. And you could have had an adventure with the Ready Rangers, that's right. All the Rangers with their little backpack full of crap that you need to survive. What? I never even heard of that one. And that's my look at House of Mystery, number 222. From 1974, the second story kind of bothered me with the furry, creepy thing. But I got to say, the Vampire Dracula story, the Vampire Butterfly was a great story. It rocked my world. I love it. Until next time, this is Danny Staton on the Daddy Danbog. Be sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell. Be sure to pick up Paradox by E. McGill. Be sure to join me on Saturday nights on Brain Bender's Banner. Be sure to check out True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1 and Book 2 by Bigfoot Michigan Rob. And we'll be back next time. Blog over, dudes.